Hey everyone, and welcome to Miblix. This is actually the very first video on the channel, so I'm really excited to have you here. On Miblix, we'll be exploring the stories behind some of the most iconic cartoons and animated shows ever created, looking at how they started, the people who made them, and the fascinating facts hidden behind the scenes. If you enjoy this kind of content, consider leaving a like and subscribing. It would mean a lot and help the channel grow. Now, let's talk about one of the most successful animated shows of the modern era, Rick and Morty. Millions of people know the series for its insane adventures, interdimensional travel, dark humor, and unforgettable characters. But what many fans don't know is that Rick and Morty began as a bizarre joke that was never meant to become a real television show. So how did a strange parody turn into a global phenomenon? Let's find out. To understand the origins of Rick and Morty, we need to go back to the early 2000s. At the time, a young animator named Justin Roiland was creating short animated projects for an internet-based film festival called Channel 101. Channel 101 was founded by Dan Harmon and Rob Schrab. It became a place where aspiring creators could experiment with unusual ideas and receive feedback from viewers. This is where Justin Roiland first met Dan Harmon. Neither of them knew it at the time, but their collaboration would eventually lead to one of the most popular animated shows ever made. In 2006, Roiland created a short animated parody inspired by the classic movie Back to the Future. The short was called The Real Animated Adventures of Doc and Marty. The characters were clearly inspired by Doc Brown and Marty McFly, but they were exaggerated, awkward, and completely ridiculous versions of them. The animation was crude, the humor was absurd, and the entire project felt like something that was never supposed to go beyond a simple joke. Yet hidden inside that joke were the earliest versions of Rick and Morty. For years, the idea remained nothing more than a strange internet short. But everything changed when Adult Swim entered the picture. By the early 2010s, Adult Swim was looking for new animated programming aimed at adult audiences. Dan Harmon had already built a reputation as a talented writer and producer, and the network approached him about developing a new animated series. Harmon immediately remembered Roiland's old parody. The concept had potential. The problem was obvious. They couldn't legally use characters from Back to the Future. If they wanted to turn the idea into a television series, everything would need to be redesigned. So they started from scratch. Doc became Rick Sanchez, a brilliant but reckless scientist capable of building technology beyond human imagination. Marty evolved into Morty Smith, an insecure teenager constantly dragged into dangerous adventures by his grandfather. The creators also expanded the concept by adding Morty's family. Beth, Jerry, and Summer became essential parts of the show and helped transform it from a simple sci-fi comedy into a family-centered story. One of the most surprising parts of the show's development is how quickly the pilot episode came together. According to Harmon and Roiland, they became so excited about the idea that they wrote the first version of the pilot script in just a few hours. Sometimes the biggest projects begin with spontaneous inspiration. In December 2013, Rick and Morty officially premiered on Adult Swim. At first, it seemed like just another weird animated comedy. Adult Swim already had a reputation for unusual shows, and nobody expected Rick and Morty to become a cultural phenomenon. But audiences quickly noticed something different. The series wasn't just funny. It combined science fiction, dark comedy, emotional storytelling, and philosophical ideas in a way few animated shows had ever attempted. Beneath the jokes and chaos were surprisingly deep themes. The show explored loneliness, identity, family relationships, depression, existentialism, and the meaning of life itself. One of the biggest reasons for the show's popularity was its use of the multiverse. Instead of being limited to a single reality, Rick and Morty introduced infinite universes filled with alternate versions of every character. This gave the writers almost unlimited creative freedom. Entire worlds could be destroyed. Characters could die. Civilizations could collapse. And yet the story could continue in unexpected ways. Fans loved it. The show became famous for its unpredictability. Viewers never knew what might happen next. Another reason for the series' success was Rick himself. On the surface, he's the smartest man in the universe. He can invent nearly anything, travel across dimensions, and solve problems that seem impossible. But underneath all that intelligence is a deeply flawed person. Rick is often selfish, emotionally damaged, and unable to connect with the people who care about him. That complexity made him one of animation's most memorable characters. Now let's look at a few interesting facts about the series. Fact number 1. Rick and Morty originally began as a direct parody of Back to the Future. The early short film created by Justin Roiland makes that inspiration incredibly obvious. Fact number 2. For many years, Justin Roiland personally voiced both Rick and Morty, meaning conversations between the two characters were often performed entirely by one person. Fact number 3. Rick's famous burping wasn't originally planned. It happened accidentally during recording sessions, but the creators liked it so much that it became part of the character. Fact number 4. One of the most famous moments in the show's history involved McDonald's Szechuan sauce. After Rick mentioned the sauce in an episode, fans became obsessed with finding it. The demand grew so large that McDonald's eventually brought it back for a limited time. Fact number 5. Despite its reputation as a comedy, many critics consider Rick and Morty one of the most philosophically ambitious animated series ever created. Today, Rick and Morty stands as one of the defining animated shows of the 21st century. It's won awards, inspired countless fan theories, generated millions of devoted fans, and helped redefine what adult animation can be. And perhaps the most incredible part of its story is that it all started with a strange parody uploaded to the internet nearly 2 decades ago. A joke became an idea. An idea became a show. And that show became a global phenomenon. Thanks for watching the very first video on Miblix. If you enjoyed learning about the origins of Rick and Morty, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and let me know in the comments which cartoon or animated series you'd like to see covered next. See you in the next video.